the FX commodities update. Now, the last trading week, we saw mixed performance across key indicators. Turnover declined by 46.27% from 6.16 billion naira to 3.31 billion naira. Also saw a decline of 29.01% in the volume of contracts traded. There's, however, some increase in the number of deals traded by 14.10%, closing at 348 deals, as well as an increase of 2.94% in the FX commodity index, closing the week at 472.51 index points. The FX export index witnessed a decline of 3.69% from 233.81 points to 225.18 points. The volume of contracts traded, we saw increased volume across paddy rice, sesame, and cashew. Price across grain commodities, we see soybean that topped the Guinness chart, gaining 1.36% to close at 353 naira 95 kobo for a kilogram. Across export commodities, cashew nut topped the Guinness chart by 4.93% to close at 553 naira 56 kobo, while sesame followed closely by 4% to close at 1,040 naira per kilogram. However, ginger, that declined by 11.80% and closed at 900 naira per kilogram. All right, let's take the conversation forward now. We see the lack of proper storage facilities remains a significant constraint to increasing African farmers' capacity to produce and sell agricultural commodities. According to World Resource Institute, almost 40% of food in the region perishes before it reaches a consumer. And the lack of proper storage is a crucial driver of these losses. Join me now is Ajia Abdul Qadir, supply chain manager at AFEX, joining me from Abuja studio. Great to have you. Good morning.
Hi, morning, Ladi.
So I know, obviously, storage plays a vital role in the food supply chain, but what are the driving factors, of this infrastructural gap in Nigeria, and what extent is the lack of storage infrastructure, affecting food production here? Because we don't want the foods spoiling before it gets to the consumers.
Yes, Ladi. Thanks for having me. So pretty much over the last decade, we've had to see that 40% of the food that is produced in Nigeria and by extension in Africa has been lost as a result of the poor storage system that we have. By and large, part of the factors that have driven this is not far-fetched from the fact that the finance that is required in putting all of this infrastructure together is quite expensive. A point in view, when you look at the cost of constructing a silo, it requires huge capital. So, and a lot of investors try to shy away from going into that investment. And the simple reason is that the return on investment in building a silo is quite, it takes a lot of time before they're able to get back, their funds. So a lot of people just, look away. Even for the warehouse system, you would agree with me that in building a warehouse is quite very expensive as well if you have to follow the due process to meet up with the international standards. So these are a few reasons why we have this infrastructural, deficit.
And obviously, this new age of technology and innovation in the agricultural sector, what are some, smart storage requirements for achieving Africa's food security?
So, Ladi, one of the smartest storage way that is globally accepted is the silo system. For the silo system, one of the good things about silo is that whatever you put into the silo is most likely what you will get out. So if you are able to get it right in the first place, if you put in commodities, let's say grains that are good, that are free of infestations and what have you, you are sure that you'll be able to bring out a good commodity at the end of the day when you want to maybe process it or consume it. Also, the warehouse system itself is not so bad. It's just that it's a bit dicey. You need to ensure that you construct this warehouse in such that it fits to global standards, such that these commodities are able to be accommodated well and being kept well in these in these warehouses. So for me, the best form of storage still remains silo. It's just that it's quite expensive.
Yeah, quite expensive there. But in Nigeria, the bulk of farmers still employ traditional, storage systems. Given the advent of technology in the sector, how do we ensure it flows down to these farmers? Essentially, pushing adoption, among the farmers.
Yeah, so Ladi, what we have been able to do over the years in FX is that we ensure that, we bring a lot of these farmers under our preview, get them registered and, give them access to, this warehousing system. Part of what we've been trying to do as well is to see how we can, get into the remote areas where agriculture has been, agric is being practiced as well. See how we can bring them on board so that they can be able to enjoy some of this benefits that comes with, working with FX. So part of what we do is to ensure that we provide facilities, sort of storage facility. And the most interesting part of it is that we ensure that we take these facilities very, very close to the farmers, and and it comes as a fee at a fee, not very expensive. There's no farmer that would say they cannot afford, as little as what we charge. So we ensure that at least with that, we are sure that we're able to get to, more farmers, and then we won't stop until we get to almost all the farmers in Nigeria and at Africa at large as well.
Yeah, quite a big feat there. But do we currently have smart infrastructure that will, improve the agricultural space in Nigeria?
Yes, I would say we do. For FX, yes, we do have a very big, robust, infrastructure that accommodates us to, play in the global space. For example, I will give you the e-warehouse receipt system that we operate in FX. The idea behind that e-warehouse receipt system in the first place is that when a farmer comes to the warehouse and brings a storage, we issue this e-warehouse receipt system to the warehouse, and in turn, the farmer is supposed to be able to walk into any bank to be able to redeem, its cash if he wants to, or still keep it, But that is still in the pipeline, and we are pretty much sure that very soon we'll bring that to light. And one other thing that it will interest you to note is that we have a very robust database, such that we have all of our farmers in this database. And what this database helps us to do is that we are able to, identify the needs of our farmers, and also enable us to be able to plan properly for this farmer. So if you check our database today, you have and Hussein Ikarada in Saminaka. It tells you the land size that he owns. It tells you the soil type that Hussein Ikarada equally has, and that informs our decision on the kind of input that we would give to them when the planting season comes.
All right, before I let you go, obviously this whole cash scarcity thing definitely impacting everybody, and I'm wondering how that's impacting your business at this time.
Well, Ladi, it's not funny, right? Because a lot of these guys that we operate with are farmers, and a lot of them want to have their cash. As a matter of fact, we've been trying to see how we could try to limit this, to reduce this struggle amongst workers, because a lot of the people that work for us, they mostly desire to have cash before they can move. So it's pretty hard to have your trucks get loaded for you. And, a lot of these guys will say, if you cannot pay me cash, it means that I'm not going to work for you. So it's really tough, but whatever it is, we're trying to see how we can cushion the effects. But we believe that this policy is for the betterment of Nigeria as a whole.
Right, even though it can get painful sometimes, but obviously we're looking for the greater good. Thank you so much, Ajay Abdulkader, Supply Chain Manager at AFEX. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
All right, and do remember, you can always go to the AFEX website there, africaexchange.com. You can also follow their social media, AFEX, at AFEX Nigeria, and at COMEX by AFEX.